They say Geminis are impossible to figure out. One moment they're the light of your world, laughing, curious, radiant, and the next they're gone, cold, distant, silent. You text them, and they take hours to reply. You ask what's wrong, and they say, nothing. You feel them drifting, but you can't understand why, because you've done nothing wrong. If you've ever loved a Gemini, you've seen it happen. The slow fade, the emotional retreat, the quiet disappearance. But what few people understand is that this isn't cruelty, it's defense. Today, we'll dive deep into the truth behind this paradox, why Gemini pushes people away even when their heart is begging them to stay. 1. The fear of losing themselves in love. For Gemini, love is both the most beautiful and the most terrifying experience of all. Because when they fall completely. They don't just like you, they absorb you. Your voice becomes their favorite song. Your thoughts, their new obsession. Your energy, their oxygen. And that's exactly what scares them. Gemini is a sign ruled by Mercury, the planet of communication and identity. They define themselves through movement, curiosity, and change. So when they feel themselves merging too deeply with someone, a quiet panic begins to rise inside them. It's not that they don't want love, they just fear disappearing inside it. To lose their independence feels like losing air. To belong to someone too much feels like drowning. So even when they adore you, they'll pull away, not to hurt you, but to find themselves again. They'll take space to remember who they are without you. Because for Gemini, love must never erase individuality. They need freedom to breathe, to think, to be. And if love feels like a cage, no matter how golden, they'll run. It's not rejection, it's survival. 2. The overthinking spiral. Gemini's mind is a storm. It never stops moving, never stops questioning. And when it comes to love, that brilliance turns inward, sometimes against itself. They start analyzing everything, every word, every tone, every tiny shift in energy. You text good night instead of good night. And suddenly, Gemini's mind begins to spiral. Did I do something wrong? Did the energy change? Are they pulling away? Should I pull back too? Their brain builds entire stories from small moments. Not because they want drama, but because uncertainty terrifies them. They crave mental clarity, emotional logic, answers, and when they can't find them, they retreat. Because for Gemini, confusion feels unsafe. If they can't read the situation, they distance themselves until things make sense again. This can make them seem cold, like they're losing interest, but in reality, they're just trying to protect their peace of mind. They don't know how to love in chaos. They only know how to love when they understand the rules of the game. And when the game stops making sense, they step back to rewrite the story in their head. It's their way of regaining control, of taming a heart that scares them with how much it feels. 3. The weight of emotional expectations. Gemini is often misunderstood as emotionally detached, but the truth is they feel everything, more than most people realize. They just don't always know what to do with those emotions. Because when someone starts to depend on them emotionally, when the relationship gets heavy, serious, intense, Gemini starts to feel pressure. Not because they don't care, but because they fear they won't be enough. Geminis want to fix everything with words, to talk it out, to analyze it, to explain it. But emotions can't always be reasoned with. And when they realize that logic can't solve the pain of someone they love, they feel helpless. So what do? They withdraw. They disappear not out of cruelty, but confusion. They think, if I can't fix this, maybe it's better if I step back. They don't realize that what the other person wanted wasn't a solution, just their presence. But for Gemini, presence without purpose feels foreign. They want to help the people they love, and when they can't, they vanish into silence, hoping space will ease the weight they can't carry. It's tragic, really, because all the other person sees is distance, while Gemini is silently fighting to process emotions that words can't touch. 4. The ghost of past disappointments. Every Gemini has a memory they don't talk about, a betrayal, a heartbreak, a time they opened up completely, only to be misunderstood, judged, or left behind. It doesn't matter how long ago it happened, the wound stays. Gemini just hides it under laughter, under busyness, under stories about other things. But deep down, that memory shapes how they love. It teaches them not to trust too easily, not to depend too much, not to give someone the power to break them again. So when they meet someone who starts to mean too much, that old fear wakes up and they push away before you get the chance to hurt them first. It's not conscious, it's instinct. They'll pick small fights, withdraw emotionally, or convince themselves you're losing interest, all just to create distance before the pain can start. In reality, they're scared of replaying an old story, the one where they gave everything and ended up empty. Gemini's detachment isn't always about you. Sometimes it's about them, trying to rewrite a history that still echoes in their heart. 5. The struggle with vulnerability. For Gemini, words are everything. They're armor, art, expression, survival. But when it comes to feelings, words suddenly fail. They can describe emotions beautifully, just not their own. They can write poetry about heartbreak, but when you ask them, "Are you okay?" they freeze, because vulnerability is chaos to them. It's unpredictable, uncontrollable, raw. They fear that if they open up completely, it'll expose too much, that someone might see the mess behind their perfect words. So they push away instead. They distract, they joke, they disappear. It's not that they don't want to connect. They just don't know how to stay connected when things get too real. For Gemini, emotions are like deep water, beautiful from above but terrifying to dive into. They'll stand at the edge, look down, and wonder what would happen if they let go. But more often than not, they step back before they jump. And yet, they want nothing more than someone who makes them feel safe enough to finally dive. 6. The constant need for space. Geminis are social creatures, but they're also deeply solitary souls. They need both connection and isolation to stay balanced. When they've been around people too long, even the ones they love, their mind starts to feel crowded. It's like too many tabs open in their head, all demanding attention. So they step away to clear their mind, to recharge, to think. But to those who love them, that distance feels like rejection. They don't understand how someone can go from intense closeness to silence overnight. Yet, for Gemini, it's essential. It's how they reset. Their solitude isn't loneliness, it's maintenance. A way to breathe, to sort through their thoughts, to return to the relationship as themselves again. If you love a Gemini, learn to give them space without punishment, because when they know they can leave, they'll always come back. 7. The paradox of emotional freedom. Gemini is the sign of freedom, not just physical, but emotional and intellectual. They crave connection, but not possession. They want to belong, but not be owned. They want to love deeply, but not lose the air they need to breathe. So when someone's love starts to feel heavy or demanding, Gemini recoils. Not because they're afraid of love, but because they associate closeness with loss of freedom. They want to choose you every day, not feel like they have to. They want relationships that flow, evolve, move like air. If love starts to feel like a cage, even unintentionally, their instinct is to escape. But here's the paradox. They push away the very people who would never take their freedom away. They're protecting themselves from a prison that doesn't exist, a phantom built from past hurts, assumptions, and fears. It's not rejection, it's reflex. They just haven't learned that true love isn't about control, it's about trust. And when Gemini learns that, they stop running, because they realize freedom isn't outside of love, it's found within it. 8. The dual nature of their heart. Gemini's heart is a battlefield between two forces, connection and detachment. They crave intimacy, but also fear it. They want closeness, but need distance. This duality is what makes them so magnetic and so misunderstood. They'll share their world with you, talk for hours, dream big dreams together, and then, without warning, vanish. It's not always planned. Sometimes they simply feel too much at once and need to retreat into their mental world to process it. It's like emotional claustrophobia, the need to escape before the feelings close in too tightly. But inside that space, they still care. They still think about you. They still replay your conversations, your laughter, your warmth. Gemini's absence doesn't mean indifference. It means they're trying to breathe inside emotions that overwhelm them. Their heart loves deeply. It just loves differently. It loves through understanding, not control. Through freedom, not permanence. Through energy, not possession. And when they find someone who understands that rhythm, who doesn't chase but trusts, Gemini finally feels safe enough to stay. 9. When Gemini finally lets you in, here's the secret most people never see. For Gemini, pushing people away isn't about not caring. It's about testing safety. They pull back to see if you'll chase them in panic or wait with patience. They withdraw to see if your love depends on their constant presence or if it's strong enough to survive distance. When you pass those silent tests, something incredible happens. Gemini starts to relax. They start to open, slowly, quietly, in their own way. They begin to share the parts they usually hide, the fears, the doubts, the insecurities behind their humor. And that's when you meet the real Gemini. Not the charming twin everyone sees, but the raw, brilliant, sensitive soul underneath. They'll let you into their thoughts, their chaos, their contradictions. They'll stop running, not because they can't, but because they finally don't want to. That's how you know a Gemini truly loves you, when their silence turns into trust and their distance turns into closeness freely given. Because love, to Gemini, is both liberation and risk. They want it with every fiber of their being, but they fear what it might cost them. They push people away, not because they want to be alone, but because they're scared of losing themselves in the process of connection. They overthink, they protect, they disappear, all to preserve the fragile balance between freedom and belonging. But when they learn that the right love doesn't demand them to change, that it celebrates their chaos, their independence, their mind, they stop running. Because finally, they realize love isn't a trap. It's a mirror, reflecting back the parts of themselves they were too afraid to see. So if you love a Gemini, be patient. Don't chase them when they retreat. Don't take their silence as rejection. Give them space to think, to breathe, to find themselves again. And when they come back, because they always do, welcome them with warmth, not punishment. Because behind their distance is a soul that loves you more than they know how to show. A soul that fears love, not because it's weak, but because it feels too deeply. Gemini doesn't push people away because they don't care. They push people away because they care too much, because their heart is too open, their mind too awake, their soul too alive. So the next time a Gemini pulls away, don't ask, "Why are you doing this?" Instead, whisper, "It's okay. I'll be here when you're ready." That's the magic phrase that disarms their defenses. That's the moment they finally realize love can be safe. If this video helped you understand Gemini's heart on a deeper level, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell, because in the next video, we'll explore the secret reason why some zodiac signs fear love more than others. Until then, stay curious, stay kind, and remember, sometimes the people who push you away are the ones who need your love the most.